All right. So what we want to be clear on, I may be going to the very basic as it relates to respiration, in that the sole purpose of respiration is to produce energy. Carbon dioxide and water and heat is being produced as a result, but the sole purpose is to generate energy in the form of ATP. All right, so the main purpose of the process of respiration is to produce energy in the form of ATP. So often we have seen definition without that of energy. So the persons will just put water and carbon dioxide and heat energy, or sometimes nothing is there. So it is simply, I want you to understand the main purpose of cellular respiration is to produce energy in the form of ATP. So in basic, we should have that in a summarized form of a chemical or word equation of respiration. All right. All right. Oftentimes there is a linkage between that of respiration and breathing, and there is a close relationship between the two. However, they are different. So from time to time, persons confuse them. Oh, you're respiring, you're breathing. No. So respiration deals with the release of energy from food, primarily glucose. It could be protein, it could be fats. And what we will see in terms of respiration and breathing is that the respiratory system or the ventilatory system is that system that provides the opportunity for gaseous exchange to provide the oxygen needed for respiration. So yes, we can see the relationship that the respiratory system, which I think, yes, I understand and I can appreciate the name, but again, it can bring about some form of confusion, because respiratory system, people think that, it's responsible for respiration. No. But there is a link right there to say the respiratory system provides that gas, oxygen, for the process of cellular respiration to take place, or tissue respiration. And it is the same system that will provide the expulsion avenue to get rid of CO2. So we can appreciate the respiratory system as the main system that deals with the gases that are associated with the process of respiration. All right? So that's the link. So they are different, but there is a close relationship between respiration and the respiratory system. The respiratory system deals with gaseous exchange, all right? While respiration deals with the process of releasing energy in the form of ATP from food. Am I being heard? Am I being clear?
So question, sir.
Yes.
In events like our NCG, which system is responsible for releasing energy? I have the digestive system and the respiratory system. Which one is correct?
Something would be wrong with the question. Something would be wrong with that question.
That question there already.
It can't be that which system is responsible. It's which process. Because the process of the process of respiration is dependent on the digestive system in terms of providing the substrate. If you can look at the equation, and if you look also at, if you're looking at cellular respiration, you're looking at oxygen, which is provided by the respiratory system. So a question like that is not structured, it's not properly structured, and I will agree with you that from time to time you see these questions that are faulty, and when these issues are raised during the marking, well, probably for multiple choice, no, students, it's after that we made submission that these questions are faulty. But a problem that we are having now is that they're telling us we should not have the multiple choice question. So how is it that we know that it is faulty? So we can't debate much again, because it is highlighting that these papers are, in circulation, which should not have been the case. But that question, I don't know if you're understanding my line of reasoning, Romy, that it would not be accurate, even if they're looking, even if they're looking for the respiratory system. The person who said the question, is having a misunderstanding of the concept. All right. So sometimes you give the most suitable response. It doesn't mean that it is correct, if you get what I'm saying. Following everyone?
Yes, sir. How good?
Good. All right. So we can appreciate that. All right. So what we need to look at now is that of, the relevance of respiration. Why is it that respiration is so important to living organism? Because you can look at it as a life process, a characteristic of living things that they will need to be able to carry out this fundamental process. Good. So these are some of the biological relevance of respiration, that it causes the organism to do cellular processes. We can think of that of transport mechanisms, those that rely on energy usage, those of exocytosis, endocytosis, active transport, to move substances. It will cost the cell some way. So if there is no energy, then what you will find is that some fundamental processes will not be able to carry them. And what happens is that the organism will not be able to survive, because these substances are necessary to move from one region of the organism to the next, or across a membrane and so forth. So it's important that energy is available to move substances, those that we know move against the concentration gradient. All right, it helps to drive things like DNA replication. What we would have come across that in L6, where a wide range. So though these reactions are catalyzed by enzymes, a great deal of energy is utilized to facilitate DNA replication, transcription, and so forth. So I normally say it takes, even the process of respiration will utilize ATP. So the whole principle of you saying it takes money to make money, it takes energy to make energy. So if you have no energy, you won't be able to even carry out the basic process of respiration. So we can see it also in terms of the movement of chromosomes in the cell division, mitosis and meiosis. And we realize, if you're studying tissues, for those of us who will be moving into medicine, when you're doing histology, you're studying different regions of the tissues taken from different regions of the body. And what you will find out is that those tissues that are taken from muscles and active regions of the body if you should zoom in on those cells, they normally have a higher number of mitochondria. So similarly to that of photosynthesis, where those areas where you have the primary photosynthetic cells, the palisade cells having more chloroplast than the other cells, it's the same thing here with that of the muscles, cells, those located in that region. They have a higher concentration, a higher number of mitochondria, and this is to, provide the necessary ATP, higher turnover of ATP in that area to provide those muscles with the energy needed for contraction and to, get the work done. All right. Generally, in terms of the life process, as we made mention, it's a characteristic of life, and as a result of that, we cannot survive without this process. So we should be able to have this down, in terms of the relevance of respiration. Not only to say, it's needed, to carry out work. At this level, we expect you to link the relevance to concepts that you would have covered in Unit 1. So here we are looking at linking respiration with DNA replication. We're linking respiration back to cell division in terms of mitosis and meiosis. We're linking respiration back to transport mechanism. So we see it right here connecting with cell biology in terms of transport mechanism, connecting with molecular biology, DNA replication, connecting with cell division and genetics right there, with mitosis and meiosis. And so, if you notice, you can appreciate that interconnection between Unit 1 and Unit 2. So this, what I'm stressing here is crucial to your paper too, because you really, sometimes we're saying, but this was not covered. They give you the opportunity to utilize the knowledge in Unit 1, and not in any great depth, but to make the connection. All right? Following, gentlemen? Okay, all right, good. All right. We want to look at the structure, this basic structure here of ATP, and to comment on the relevance of storing energy in this form. Why is it that the body stores energy in the form of ATP? We go back to look at energy conservation mechanism, that it is important that the body store energy in the form of ATP. And some books will tell you that it is the energy currency of the body. Reason, when energy is stored in this form, then what happens is that the energy will be released as needed. So it helps with some conservation of the energy. So it's a conservation mechanism when energy is stored in the form of ATP. So energy will be released in accordance to the demand. All right? So if it is that you have it probably in another version or form, then what you will find is that, energy will be released because it is needed, and might be it is not sufficient to carry out a particular activity, or it is too much. So what will happen is that the excess energy will be wasted probably in the form of heat. Yes, we can go back to that. So the body is trying as much as possible to reduce its energy loss in terms of other forms of energy, which is not the intended form or the main form. So it's like the light bulb. It's to provide light. It's not to generate heat. So you really don't want a bulb that will make your house very hot. It is saying that a great deal of energy is being wasted in the form of heat because it's the light bulb. And if it's the iron, you don't want your iron to be well lit. Just a small light to say that electricity is flowing. But we have to look at it from that angle that ATP, that structure enables energy conservation. So, just a phosphate group will be released if there is just maybe that is the amount that is needed and so forth, and it's reduced to ADP and so forth. So you want to link the structure of the ATP back to that of the relevance to maintain a good usage and flow of energy within the body, and to reduce energy loss in the form of heat. All right. Yes, you should go through the cycle in terms of that of digestion. We went through this already. So when work is done versus when food is taken in, and the ongoing cycle. But maybe not to any great degree. You need to know the structure, maybe not the cycle, but if you get an essay question where you may want to include it to boost your answer, certainly you can do that. So when work is done, a phosphate group is given up. It's reduced to ADP. When food is taken into the body, it is stored. It helps to top up that ADP to form ATP. Good, and we need not to get much into the enzymes that are required, but what we know is that enzymes are required in terms of the process of phosphorylation. So at times they will give you things like maybe a flow chart, and you have to know that when you see ADP plus and they leave it blank, and equal, and you have to fill it out to say it's a phosphate ion that you would put here, or phosphate being attached. So you have synthetic phosphate that are used in terms of lab. So if you look at it here, let me get my annotation. You have to, they'll give you these things to fill out. Yes, the phosphate. All right, so it is the phosphate. I think there is a question that they ask in the biology teach. Let me see if I can. I don't know if I'll be able to find it now, but I'll certainly send it in the group. And the teachers were asking about it, and they were thinking about some other thing, but the answer was simply the phosphate and and ATP. 2 marks for it. They're expecting you just to put this there. So it's the phosphate, and that will add to the ADP to form the ATP. And for some reason, the way the question was structured, the teachers were looking all different. It's nothing strange. They are not expecting you to pull from another syllabus. The CAPE syllabus is very specific, and it is the content that we would have covered. That is what you will be assessed on. So we have to be mindful of the phosphate ion being there that will be used to phosphorylate the ADP to form the ATP. All right, and I think they asked for the process, phosphorylation. All right, so be familiar with that.
Sir, Gunter says he's in the waiting room.
Waiting room. All right, I'm sorry about that. All right, so as you go through This is what I'm talking about.